Good morning and thanks for joining us. I am Yori Folani and hope you had a great weekend. It was the weekend that we also heard that America was at it again, now banning us. Well, not so, that's the way it's being said, but visa restrictions actually. And in not just all visas across the board, just the immigrant visa alone, a temporary sort of, just like we did a temporary border closure. They say they're doing a temporary, visa restriction in the category of immigrant visas. All others, we understand, are in order, whether it is visiting or whether it is school and all of that. But my guest this morning, Mr. Chooks Nwoko, publisher and social commentator. Thanks as always for coming on, Chooks. And Mr. Tony Ofoyeton, DG International Institute of Professional Security. We also have Tony in here as a lawyer in case there's any legal aspect that we need to go to. So, thank you, gentlemen, for coming on.
Thank you.
Chooks, we were here the other day, we were talking another matter. Now, this security, President Trump of the US sees it as a security issue. And as we were talking before coming on air, we were using words such as, the whole thing is the allegation from yonder is that we don't have our security house in order. Absolutely. Would you like to proceed from there? Or what do you think?
Absolutely, I agree. It was going to happen. It was obvious it was going to happen.
But not everybody in the US thinks so. Nancy Pelosi, as you have read, I'm sure by now.
Let's discuss the issue and leave.
But she has said that it is the most unconstitutional, most un-American, it was discriminatory, it was targeted mainly at African countries, and was sparking all sorts of ways.
Yes. But we can't, for instance, I speak for myself, I cannot join her in her line because the issues that we have to deal with stares us on the face. We're part of the global community. We live at a very strange time. Strange in the sense that we woke up one morning and Trump, some political neophyte, just became president. It was going to happen. We saw him when he emerged, when he indicated interest. He beat everybody in the Republican Party and all that. So we're dealing with the fallout of the man becoming the president of the United States and currently the most powerful man on earth as far as I am concerned. Now, I said unique times because strange things are happening. Strange things are still going to happen here. One of the things that has just happened is the spat that almost resulted in war between Iran and the United States, plus this one that happened to us. Before it happened, it was mere speculation. And I remember I was in your studio here in one of your programs where we analyzed the news before it became real. But did I see it coming? I did.
Oh, okay.
Did we as a nation see it coming? I thought that we did, because Trump has no atom of patience for corruption, for terrorism, for whatever it is. I am aware, and I believe that our government is aware because he spelled it out during his campaign, and has followed everyone. He has tried to execute every of his campaign promises, and he has landed him in the current impeachment problem that he has faced and all that because the establishment in his country do not agree with him. Typified by the opposition that you just expressed by Pelosi. I think that we should not go on the line of the political polarization that is going on in America because this restriction has come to effect. How does it affect you and I? It does not portray us in good light.
Okay, one moment. I'm going to come back.
We have the opportunity to redo the situation.
Okay, thank you very much for that opening salvo. And Tony, on our side, of course, the president would have even heard about it before we heard about it. He's put Minister Aregbesola as Interior Minister, Internal Affairs Minister, at the head of a committee to look at this. And the wording was to address it. Before then, additional, one of the presidential spokesmen had said that Nigeria was interested and would always be interested in cooperating with America and its allies. So just how do you read this and this whole matter about the Minister of Interior, head of a committee to look into the American complaint and address it?
Well, I think one thing is important to lay or just what he said. One of the basic campaign promises of Donald Trump was the philosophy of America for Americans and America first. And he has not been pretentious about it. He has never for once been diplomatic about it. And I'm sure you know that Donald Trump is not a diplomat by any standard.
He's president, though.
He's a president.
He is president.
He's doing excellently well for the Americans.
Okay.
You know, as president. Of course, you have oppositions and all those stuff like that. Having said so, there are areas that they also have pointed that we as a nation should look at. And like he said, these things are very glaring to us. You want to apply for migrant visa, for example. Now, the American government want to cross-check the information that you have provided. And unfortunately, there is no platform upon which to confirm all this information. It is only what you told them. I attended X and Z primary school. I attended X and Z secondary school. I worked in this place. I worked in this place. Now, how do they confirm? Now, it will only take intergovernmental relationship with good database to be able to just log into the central data, and your name and every information that is all about you is brought out in the comfort of the embassy there. Now, these are issues that the government of America is looking at Nigeria, providing. It has its own positive and negative implication.
One moment,
as
please.
It were.
One moment, please, because as you are saying that, I'm reminded of the new policy, sort of open borders to West African citizens, countries, that some are taking full advantage of. In fact, you look at the social media for whatever that is worth, there are some alarms that, look, so many people are coming based on the fact that they are Fulanese, coming into the northern parts of Nigeria and are registering as Nigerians.
Good.
As a result of all of this.
Good.
Where do we know that they're coming from?
Good.
What do we know about their dispositions?
You just took it from my mouth that, look, there's high level of porosity and high level of contradiction. Now, when we say we close border, on one hand, and on the other hand, we're also giving unrestricted access to human movement. It is so contradictory.
Of a particular kind.
It's so contradictory. And these are areas that we think the government should look at. And another thing is this. In a nation, any nation fighting against terrorism must never leave any excuse. The little excuse you leave become a vulnerability that threat called terrorism will exploit.
Okay. Now, but the problem, coming back to you, Chooks, is that the government doesn't see this as a vulnerability when it opened up the borders to ECOWAS countries and citizens, free movement, and the allegation is that some are actually coming in through the north and are registering as Nigeria. I don't know how that will work. Are registering as Nigerians simply because of this policy. Allegedly, that needs to be scrutinized and bring a microscope to see it and see if there's any truth to it. But it is worrisome. Now, government policies don't happen overnight. Before the Trump people would have come up with this one and that was announced, I imagine it's been in the works for a while. And this whole our own opening up the borders and allegedly, Fulanis coming in from all over West Africa simply because of that policy and being registered, it might have been a coincidence sort of a thing. But it probably is worrisome.
It's worrisome. I'm one supporter of that project, of that policy direction. I remember also that I analyzed it here with your colleague when President Buhari went to Egypt and made that statement, and I was invited. And I looked at it from the economic point of view, and I thought that was a great idea, knowing that the other countries who are doing it. But you need more than that to be able to, you need more than that to be able to save. You need education, you need knowledge to be able to implement that policy, and you also need knowledge to protect your citizens. Securing your country and its borders and citizens, it's a top priority, and it's knowledge-based, and it requires patriotism from everybody. But some of the statements that are coming from some of our elites from that part of the country it's not encouraging.
Well, maybe that's because they don't see the subject matter of this conversation. They don't see it as a threat. That if those that do see it as a threat are being a bit paranoid. Now, I don't know, perhaps government will need to pronounce, because it doesn't seem to me, I don't know that
but
every Fulani in West Africa is potentially a Nigerian.
Now,
I don't understand that.
but you know that this Fulani issue that has been repeatedly used there, in fact, I have deliberately refused to mention the word Boko Haram and Fulani for a very long time, until recently, where I just heard myself mentioning them. Because the truth of the matter is that the fundamental problem that we have is the issue of nationhood. We just have a country, and there's a whole lot of difference. Until President Buhari, whom I have always admired from a distance, became a president in our democracy setting, I never really heard Nigerians, talking about Fulani
that much.
So I keep repeating myself when I mention ethnic loyalties that has ruined our leadership in this country. So that became part of our slogan and all that. Now, if they are coming into this country and they are doing business, they are doing the normal business for which we know them for several decades, I don't have a problem. But we have national setback in terms of insecurity. And I've always believed that our insecurity comes from political troublemakers. I have always believed that. Nobody has been able to convince me otherwise. That the challenge we have with insecurity, for me, is single-handedly placed on the door of the kind of democracy we practice, and on the door of our political troublemakers. And I've explained to you severally who our political troublemakers are. I give you an example. There's a fellow who is my relation. He's there in my town with a large number of policemen guiding him. And in fact, I heard last week that about 10 young men from my town, they're all in police, whatever. Because he's a big man. He carries police everywhere. He brings Sienna loaded with police, and he's arresting people all over the place. There's a guy that I saw in one of your programs this morning. I'm sure he came to these premises with a police officer, 1 or 2. We need to check our political class and beg them to let us enjoy this democracy. But I have always had a problem with democracy, because the way it's been brought here has not augured well for us completely. It's not development that he has brought for us. He has brought trouble and all kinds of setbacks for us. And the polarization that is going on in America is what is also going on in this place. Well, so this insecurity that we are talking about, I'm always looking at these political troublemakers. Who are they? They don't win elections. They contest elections to go to the Senate. They fail. They want to go to become governors. They fail. Some of them serve 8 terms. They go back. And they just sit idle. And the only thing they think is self-survival. They are not satisfied with what they have. And therefore, they are not qualified to be ministers, or they do not merit. And they just sit down and cause all these problems. You have not mentioned the former governor of Borno State, Amadou Sheriff. You have not mentioned his activity in that state for 8 years. What is he doing now? All the divisions that he brought to PDP came from one party, I think APC, came to PDP. That party has not recovered from his trance into that party. So we leave these guys and discussing ordinary Fulani people. Well, they might be used, but the people causing this, as far as I'm concerned, are the people I call political troublemakers.
Okay, you call them that. And last week we had the resident electoral commissioner of Akwa Ibom State, Mike Igini, in the studio, and he was talking about the problem of INEC in terms of delivering on its mandate and, by extension, stability for the rest of us, was the political elite. He said the political elite, they are a problem because they make life almost impossible. Now, I don't know if maybe what the people you were thinking, you can just carry them and put them in the political elite. Now, talking about whatever it is that is showing, Tony, to America that has led to this. Interestingly, if you're going to come and go back home, we don't have a problem with that. But the potentiality that you want to, because you have the backing of a Nigerian passport and a Nigerian citizen, you now want to apply, and we have rules where we can't just refuse people any old how. You see, Pelosi has come in on the matter, so there will always be this reaction. As I said, I don't know if we can bring those two together and say, Was America looking far ahead, or was it just a whole unhappy coincidence of timing sometimes does those kind of things?
No, basically, I think, you know, if for those Nigerians, let me just put it like that, that have been privileged to be in America, you will know that every leader in America has been very proactive. The leadership philosophy of America is such that they look into centuries to come, a minimum of 100 years from where you are. No government in America comes and is talking about now. They're always talking about the future.
Yeah.
You know, and that is why when you enter a place like America, you see some structure. You see architectural, you see the cities. You would wonder, you will appreciate why they think into the future. So it's not looking at it from what we have now. We are talking of porous border. We are talking of defective NIM system. We are talking of a system that can be easily abused.
We don't have databases.
Yes. Now, that becomes a foundation. Now, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? This foundation now wants to go to another country called America. Having known the implication of a defective foundation, what do? They say, no, we have to stop it. And the truth is this, it's going to affect the migrant and the non-migrant. Because the rate at which visas will be refused, will be higher. Will be higher. If they be issuing maybe 1,000 per day, don't be too surprised that you are only going to have maybe 200.
Maybe something like that.
200, 100.
Because, but
and that 100 is just to bring propaganda for justification purpose. That no, it's not everybody will refuse. Even if it's 10, they just use 10 to push that. No, it's not everybody will refuse. It's going to work like that.
I don't know, and it's not helpful. I was reading about former Vice President Atiku Abubakar wading in on the issue, signing a statement, and there are those who will say was politicizing the entire thing because he brought it to Nigeria. That look,
read it too.
But you know, he talked about something about insecurity in the Buhari administration. He said that if you look at way back, the way we've been coming, things have been cool. You know, I'm paraphrasing now. Things have been cool.
I read the statement.
The fact that he now put
let's leave that aspect of in the Buhari administration.
Yes.
Let's leave that aspect out of it.
But no, he should have left it out, perhaps.
No, look, you see, what we are saying is this. What he was saying is differentiate between the iniquity of the government and the iniquity of the individual Nigerian. Don't bring whatever defect you think on. Look, Yori, there are people doing legitimate businesses in America.
Of course.
And these are their main source of income. There are people bringing in and out of America legitimate things.
But they're not touching those ones.
They're not.
They're not touching those ones.
No, they're not.
At the end of the day.
So those ones don't count.
The way it works is this. You see, at the end of the day, they will touch them. Do you know why? If they don't touch them, your government will not have the impact. Definitely, you just had the news, for example, whether fake news also that Bishop Oyedepo was denied visa. Just that phrase alone, look at how it went viral, the whole world.
Yeah.
You know, only for subsequently we'll say, okay, it was not true and all those stuff like that.
One moment, please. Let me bring in Kayode, who has called in from the UK. Good morning, Kayode.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in, sir.
Good morning to our guest.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First, I want to congratulate myself that at the press of one button, I got through to this morning.
Some things work. Some things actually work.
Good. Oh, yes. I'm calling from my office, and I'm addicted to this morning now as a platform.
Thank you.
That provides me information about Nigeria. Now, I thank you for bringing up this topic. I've been waiting for it on our platform. And again, it's a discussion. This topic needs multi-dimension. But my brother there in suit have just upset me by triggering something inside me. And I want to thank him for that, because I was going to contribute in a different way and manner before. It is true that this American policy is the right, wrong thing. It is right that it will help us to develop our system, to upscale our level to international standards.
Mm-hmm.
It is wrong that it has put Nigeria's reputation or among those lists, and it's not good for our status. The gentleman there have mentioned the issue. The solution is our database. I will take you back when 2015, when President Buhari was elected. President Buhari came to London and he met some government officials and departments. And I believe one of the things told President Buhari was that President Buhari should look into one of the good things that previous government embarked on, very important to our economic development, the national identity. This decision was made in 2011 in the UK African Summit. Obama said they announced almost $4 billion to help that structure, UK to build the structure with $600 million. National identity, I believe the contract was awarded to an Indian company, I'm not very sure. But that system, that's why when President Buhari came back, after making that statement, I belong to everybody but nobody, he was the first individual that went to subscribe to that system, means the national identity card in Aso Rock. He went to register. But Uncle Ori, where are we today? That department was less funded. They were closing their offices in Lekki, in some places. They moved all the centers to military barracks now. The number of people that are on that register is not yet up to 10% of our population. That is what we need. Moving forward, the man in the office there, we need people like him to continue to ventilate and articulate government positions. We need solutions. We need experts to come and build all these databases. We cannot move, not to compete now with the world, we cannot move in the world anymore that is getting digital day by day without having this platform. That you say your name is Chidi Emeka, people can quickly, at the point of a button, they can confirm that. They can authenticate that. That is what we need, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much, Khalid.
Bring this discussion, this topic up again, because there are many,
you're right.
Many phases to it that we need to control.
Indeed.
Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much for calling in, Khalid. And indeed, it was already our plan that we weren't going to be able to accommodate it all in one program. But it's interesting what he says, because the Femi Adesina, the presidential spokesman, has already said that he's told us the mind of the governor, of the president, that we are interested in continuing our long relationship with America, in other words, and Aregbesola, at the head of that committee, has been told to look into the matter and with a view to addressing it. I'm still trying to understand what addressing it means, because when government come, Chooks, when governments come with this kind of language, with a view to addressing it, maybe we need to find out what exactly will be addressed. But I think we've made the point that the fact that our database is the way it is, let us just leave it at that. There are those who will say it is non-existent, as a matter of fact. Therefore, anybody can say anything, and there's no way to verify.
Absolutely.
No way to verify anything.
Absolutely.
And so we can't work with those kind of people. I don't know what the situation with Myanmar and Sudan and some other countries that were also involved in this. I think there are 5 of us.
At governmental level, if that's what that committee has been set up to do, at governmental level, it will be very easy to address. What you need to do is find out. Your caller mentioned something that is very, very important. That at the touch of a button, if you are visiting any country,
yes, you can check.
Yeah. Now, if you have a visa and you go to a developed country, your visa can be revoked or be cancelled because they've just found out something about you right at the point of entry. Now, that's how to address it. And to be able to do that at a governmental level, you can you can seek for assistance, you can seek for help in designing the structure, in setting up the infrastructure, by asking an arm of the World Bank or IMF or whatever organization to come and help set up this. That is if you're not able to find such human capital here. But let me shock you. There's no kind of human capacity you can find in Nigeria.
Yeah.
There is nothing. That's how blessed and how talented we are. But I'm just saying that if you do not find that kind of patriotism in these individuals, you can seek for help by building this, where this whole thing by INEC and what. Look,
I hear you.
a relation of mine, somebody that I know, I just touched my phone and found out has just been sentenced to 30 years imprisonment in Texas. Because everything is documented
Because
by a touch of a button on my phone. I found he's been sentenced.
Okay.
That sentence has been waiting.
Okay. Ade in the UK. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
I want to congratulate your station for showcasing this matter.
Thank you.
In the days of Abdulmutalab, the underwear bomber, Nigerians were in denial that our country is not a terrorist nation. And I was telling you, of course we are. The northern part of Nigeria is a home to terrorists because they've got their own agenda. Their agenda is not about one area, it's about nation. Their agenda is about supporting other regions to propagate their agenda of the Arewa, which is not a country. We have people come from nowhere. Now, clamoring about. We know
Ade, I'm afraid the line is poor. Ade, I'm so sorry. The line is poor, and so we had to let go. It was dropping in and out. So, see if you can get back in again. I don't know the extent to which former Vice President Atiku Abubakar understood this whole matter, because as I said, I read his commentary, and even though Tony has said, can we leave that to one side? Because he was advising that, look, deal with people in the government that have been responsible for, just doing all the, in short, the usual political commentary about criticizing that. Deal with those ones in this government. Leave ordinary citizens alone. Now, I'm looking, ordinary people in government, even if you're going to look at it, they are not looking for immigrant visas. And they've said that those ones that might concern them, they're not going to be touched. I just thought that we should bring this in, even as we're talking about the meat of the matter, perhaps, which is that we lack any form of verifiable documentation, and this might be worrying to a place like America. The people have even jokingly referred to it as the world's capital. And as Additional himself has said, that we are interested in continuing to work with America and its allies, because that's where this matter is going to go, and its allies. So it's a serious matter, and everything now depends on maybe getting our reputation where it needs to be by addressing it, as has been said. But it was the gentleman who called in first from the UK that actually outlined the nature of the problem. How are you going to address it? I think he brought up the national identity card scheme. God knows where that is. Tony, because you are a big man, you might have your national identity card. I imagine that maybe only 10, 20%, maybe, I don't know if 20%.
The other thing is that it is
of Nigerians have it. Okay, Chidi has called in from Kaduna. Good morning, Chidi.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling.
Good morning, Dr. Chus Walker.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. I'm not a doctor.
Thank you for calling in.
Barrister, please.
Yes. We have a barrister. That is Barrister Ofoyeton.
Yeah, okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
In fact, I am enjoying the program and the topic this morning.
Okay.
My little contribution to this extent is I would like the Nigerian Diplomatic Corps to do all that is within their own purview to address this travel restriction. Because one of the reasons, if you ask me, I would say, is that the American government is seeing Nigeria as a terrorist country, so unfortunately. So if Nigerians could do, through the government and other relevant agencies, to remove the stigma of insurgency and a terrorist country, I want to believe that this issue would diplomatically be redressed.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chidi, and also for keeping it short and sharp and sweet. This whole matter about terrorist country and all of that, I believe, to paraphrase, if my own understanding of what the U.S. is saying is that terrorists are actually having it too easy in a certain section of the country. And whether it is a section or not, or it is the country, they can't begin to compartmentalize the place. Now, of course, government is going to take exception to that, and we've come back to this whole matter about internal committee set up and headed by Aregbe, the Minister of Internal Affairs. Please address this matter.
Now, let me just say.
I was talking about the national ID card.
No,
to try and know ourselves. That hasn't worked as well as it was hoped it would.
One thing, I don't know if it's a major attitudinal issue in this country is we don't take serious things seriously.
Okay.
And that actually is one of the things that have bedeviled the national ID card. You go there, you say you want to register, somebody is standing to say you want to sell the form for you, 100 naira, 50 naira, and all those stuff like that.
We just never got that right.
Too
many people.
That's one.
Very few people have that national ID thing. They messed it up. Let it be said.
Then secondly, also, the issue of the minister Aregbe doing something.
Let me return to you, please, sir, because Ade in London has called back again. I'll return to you. Good morning, Mr. Ade.
Good morning, sir.
This is a much better line. I can hear it.
Thank you very much. We have to pray for our country. It's a pity we have been blacklisted in America. That is a shame. We have to, as a nation, to redeem our. We need to redeem our.
How?
This current president in America is a no-nonsense guy. And we are happy with that. It's a no-nonsense. He said that all he did to protect America. No president in Nigeria has ever thought about Nigeria's loss. They always think about their tribe, their ethnicity, their religion, and how to relate other regions. That is blacklisted.
I hope I didn't speak too soon about. I hope I didn't speak too soon about the line being much better. But carry on, please. Let's see. Oh, you're actually out. I'm afraid that line. The promise was there, but it degenerated. I'm so very, very, very sorry, Ade, that we couldn't hear what you wanted to say. So please, let me return to you.
Now, you see, what I just wanted us to understand is the fact that for government to really get out of this very embarrassing situation, there are some things I expect the government to do, apart from the issue of the national identification card or numbers that are very imperative, which is so easy for the government to get. So easy. You take, for example, when government said it's compulsory before you write JAM, get it. Look at the percentage of our youth that got it within that short period of time. Now look at BVN compulsory.
Yes.
You can't operate a bank account. So easy.
Yes.
So you see.
So they were serious about that.
Yes. You see. So once there's a level of seriousness, they know what to do. But the terrorism issue is one area that the government needs to look at. And one of the things I think the government can do to make sure to tell the world that we are serious against fight against terrorism is successful prosecution of terrorists. It is embarrassing to hear the word repentant terrorist. It's embarrassing. It's a national embarrassment to the extent that we're even hearing that whether right or wrong, that some are even being brought into the military. Now, it's embarrassing. There is no nation in the world that
will
will
be
hear
reassured
that
when he's
and
hearing that.
It's not
That-
possible. Let's be realistic. So the government need to look at successful prosecution of those that are apprehended. Not just put them in detention 1-2 months later, hand them over to the governor and say that they have repented. It doesn't work like that anywhere in the world.
So that's just one aspect of it. I imagine it must be a lot more complex, but you're very, very right. But that's one aspect of the matter.
Well, another aspect of it is somebody is caught for kidnapping. You sentence him to 5 years or 10 years imprisonment. He serves and he comes out. And he decides that, you know what, I need to go to the United States. He tries, he's fortunate, he gets a visa and takes off. There's no way the American people can know that because our recording system does not put that into the internet, does not put into the system. But if you go and look for work, if you're an American, you go and look for work in a restaurant, in a bar and all that, the first thing, if you pick up their form, because they will give you a form, they like documentation, the first thing you put all your details, they will just check it.
Yes, and see if it is right.
For traffic offense, your name goes into their record.
Yes, I know. So it's all about record taking. Kunle in Lokoja, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yari.
Thank you very much for calling in, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, and good morning to your guest there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm a staff of NIMSI. I love the topic this morning, and I'm enjoying it.
Sure.
Honestly speaking, there are a lot of programs in NIMSI that can address this identity issue.
What is
But
NIMSI? Help us out. NIMSI for international viewers.
Yeah, I'm a staff of NIMSI.
NIMSI
for
is
the
what?
sake of, I won't say more about myself. But
NIMSI.
there are a lot
What
of-
does NIMSI
yeah,
stand for? For international
National
viewers.
Identity Management Commission.
Okay.
Yes, the truth here is this: the system itself can take care of the mess we are in this country, but the management is not taking care of the centers are not well funded. As it is now, somebody mentioned about form sales. It is true. When you go to our centers, everything has been monetized. They're giving you for extortion. Why? Because the commission itself is not well funded by government. And the management also is not taking the issue of the welfare of the staff serious. But if all these things can be tackled, the system already can take care of this. There are a lot of the things in NIMSI now going on that can address this identity mess we are in the country. So my advice to the Nigerian government is to sit tight, look into the affair of NIMSI. That place can really work. It was working, but this new government has bastardized everything. There's no funding coming to the system. So if they can tackle that, I think we will get there. God bless you and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Kunle, for calling in. Now, NIMSI, the National
Identification Commission, or something like that.
And
Management
Commission.
Yes. He's a member of staff, but I don't know that he's authorized to speak for them.
No, it's
but
not.
He's
a
giving us-
Nigerian.
He's giving us his impression as a Nigerian.
Don't. You see, there's what we call the evidence of an empirical observer. It is not a matter of whether he was authorized to speak for. He didn't even say he was authorized to speak. And you would also see from the way he spoke that there was no diplomacy in it. He said he identified the problem and also provided solution.
As this staff was concerned,
Yes.
he even said
Funding.
the management was culpable. That's why I put it in that
Yes,
way.
the management culpable, and of course the government also culpable. Funding, there is no, look, money is the bicycle of the gospel. There is no way any
that English or
organization,
Yoruba? Is it English or
whichever
Yoruba you
one,
were
just
just
put it, whichever
Owó
one.
ni kẹ̀kẹ́ yìí rere.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, you know, you
No
see,
need.
there is no way you are going to run a successful commission and to fulfill its mandate without giving it the necessary lubricants,
Yes.
which in this instance is finance. I told you because I saw people I saw people, as in people, buying form for 100 naira.
Yeah.
100 naira.
Yes.
And they will collect. In short, if you get there, it is not in hiding. You can even use camera. They are not even apologetic about it. They are not apologetic,
So
and
that-
it's supposed to be free.
Yeah, so these are instances of where we get it wrong.
We start well and-
People don't
and bad.
even know that the whole thing, as Kunle said, has become bastardized. Kunle said that the management, quite frankly, doesn't seem to care.
But because
Doesn't
lack
seem
of
to
knowledge,
care.
lack of leadership,
Thank
lack
you.
of
Thank
knowledge
you very
of the
much.
consequence. So he was taking Trump
Yes.
to make us to come and discuss
So
this thing.
thank
So, but if
you.
you now have a smart government
Yeah.
that will listen and understand that you are also you are just profiling your own little idea and all that listening, because you're supposed to have a department in government where some of these things can be analyzed and collated and see what can be used and all that.
Well,
but
it's not as if the government at times do not even know what to
so what is the
do,
problem?
you know.
Inability to provide the
I
leadership.
think the political will to do some things.
Okay.
And political will now, some fundamental things become major consideration for some of our leaders, and they impede development. Religion impede development. Ethnicity impede development.
Democracy also
Nepotism impede development. Now, you see, when you bring all this to bear, when you are taking fundamental decision in policy management and the like, you will have defective results at the end of the day.
Okay, one moment, please. I think Kayode, has Kayode called in for a second time?
Yes.
Kayode.
Thank you very much.
Kayode, 2 times, 2 portions, 2 helpings.
It's my lucky day, Uncle Yori. And you will be older than my grandmother.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Kayode. Oh dear.
Uncle Yori.
Dear.
Uncle Yori.
That wasn't me, or it
was
couldn't be
you.
me. I was just observing that Kayode has managed to take 2 helpings, and there are Nigerians still struggling for their own first chance. But Kayode said it was his lucky day. Yeah. Okay, especially as we went and lost you. If you get in a third time, I guess I'll have to take it. So that's it. The call just dropped. But he probably, as a result of comments, wanted to add something further. It seems that it's clear to us, not being diplomatic or security professionals, or for that matter, even policy professionals, that the way our whole security architecture is not tidy enough for the Americans, and that's why we must make the distinction. They are not touching all these other ones, even though it has been explained that, well, call me, it will reach there. But they're not touching those ones. They are saying, if you want to now come in here as an immigrant, for the moment,
Did you notice
we're
that
putting a hold.
Did you notice
It's
that
temporary.
you were quoting Abacha article?
Yes, yes.
I mean,
yes.
he had the
I was
courage.
paraphrasing him.
Yes,
because he was saying that deal with the Nigerians in this administration. That was politicization.
Absolutely. But whether it's politicization or otherwise, what I want to say about that is that I am happy that he had the courage to put out a statement, whether it's politicized or not politicized. But have you noticed that since the ascension of Trump to power, that our politicians are actually afraid of him? So I'm surprised, and in fact, I'm happy for him that he had the courage to put out that statement. I'm still waiting for all the Senate president and all these big political elites to speak and all that. But at the end of this, ordinary Nigerians who normally will go to the United States that have been affected by this.
They are not affected. Ordinary Nigerians allegedly are not affected.
No,
But the point here is that if you I might be wrong, but I have always said that I appreciate the generosity of the Americans when it comes to visa, because when I go out and I see the number of people, Nigerians
who want to go.
No,
to
not people who want to go, people who are outside of this country.
Okay.
Nigerians who are outside of this country. Don't forget that in the 70s, 1970, 71, 73, when Nigerians started going to the United States to go and study, it was the missionaries that were here persuading our people and encouraging people to come and take opportunities that were available in that place. But now we're the ones that are seeking these things and all that. And I think that we need to help ourselves by making it easy for them to issue these immigrant visas to us, by putting our structures, putting our house in order.
Okay, by making it easy, for them to issue these immigrant visas to us, for people to live here and then just go and
answer take care of their worries and all that.
It's all right. It's okay. Mazi Okorafo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sayori. Good morning, our guests in the studio.
Good morning.
Honestly speaking, Sayori, there is nothing wrong in this visa ban, or visa, anything we call it. But the thing is this: the white man that says that they don't say in Nigeria. They are working based on reports. Now, do you know before the America will open their mouth and say visa ban, they must have followed other reports, updates, brought down to the National Security Advisor to the President. Based on the report they have gathered about it. Now, what are we supposed to do on this issue of visa ban? Because this was no longer the symptom, this is the causes. What do? We sit down, the National Executive Council of Nigeria should sit down, each ministry should investigate their own departments and know exactly what is happening. They gather everything and present to the president and say, these are the solutions we have presented, so that America will come back and say, okay, visa ban removed.
But Mazi, they say it is immigrant visa applications that they are holding for now. All other visa categories reportedly are not affected.
I know, but you know that many Nigerians prefer going to US to stay than stay in Nigeria.
Okay.
There's statistics. Because you see a young
They go,
man
they
now,
don't come
or a young
back.
girl now, by the time you...
I don't know what's happening to the phones. Well, are they in the UK? Sure, you see it. Or was it Kyle?
Well, you see,
I don't know. Even in Arochukwu, for some reason, they are not allowing us to have a conversation as long as we want. But Mazi, thank you very much for calling in. Yes.
I want to also call on the average Nigerians to also look inward. Because in as much as, yes, for the purpose of integrity,
yes,
we are seen in very bad light in international community that this nation is already blacklisted. Whether you call it restriction
and
or
it's not
ban,
fair.
it's not fair for the goodness. But it also means that we Nigerians and the government should look inward. Let us look at how can we develop our nation in such a way that even the average Nigerian, the average American, will want to relocate to Nigeria. Look, Nigeria is very endowed. Nigeria, at least...
That is what Aregbe's task is. This
wait,
is
let me
exactly
say
what
something.
the president has told Aregbe's committee to do.
Let me tell you something, sir. America statistically has about 24 solid mineral resources at commercial quantity. Nigeria has 23 solid mineral resources at commercial quantity. America is 300 million. America is bigger in landmass and in everything. Now, if you look at, if Nigeria is able to harness its natural resources, not oil, I'm not talking about oil. You are talking about 22 others at commercial quantity that has not been touched at all. If Nigeria is able to look inward, and we don't have problem in this world with poverty, with unemployment.
It's going back to the question of development.
We only have problem with
it is
leadership.
poverty causing all these insults.
No,
because
no, sir.
Yes.
It's not poverty.
Leadership with vision.
Oh, okay.
Leadership with vision. Knowing
Because
what to do.
Our potential
And
wealth.
bringing the people that know what to do to bear part time. It's very important. And that is the major problem with Nigeria. Nigeria, he said something. There is no human resource that you cannot get in Nigeria. Look, let's leave the issue of all this. Nigerians have what we call native intelligence, stronger than any other nation in the world. Quote me any day, any time. I have intermingled with all races you can talk about. You are talking of a Nigerian that would see a technology for the first time, does not know much about the technology, and it will shock you what he can do out of that technology.
Tony in the UK, good morning. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, morning, and Brother Yuri.
Good morning, sir.
And morning to your panel.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
One thing I want to say, we are just looking at the bad side of it. If we look at the good side of what Trump has done, if we consider that, we will see that, if anything, it should help strengthen our security, strengthen businesses, because one of the problems of businesses is lack of data. We talk about foreign investment all the time, but we don't have data. How can a business come into Nigeria without this information? Our people travel out not because they want to. Many of our Nigerians that are abroad here, they strongly wish they would be able to come back.
Yeah.
People take all sorts abroad, but just because they don't want to come back. So if we can get this done, I think it will strengthen things. It will make people even want to come back. So let's forget about the bad
But
side.
Tony, just before you go, Tony, if you can still hear me, are you aware that there are Nigerians who indeed are coming back from the UK in particular, where you are calling from? I think Tony has gone. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes. There are Nigerians
Yes,
coming back.
I am aware. Yeah. But in what number? When you compare to the numbers that are thinking of leaving.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah.
Fine
So
point.
I think we should forget about the bad side and try and see how we can work on these things. If we can work on these things, this kind of insult will not come back to us again in the future.
Indeed. Thank you very much for calling in, Tony. Appreciate your call.
Talking about looking at the good side of it.
Yeah.
I've always said to people and to my friends, by the way, a friend of mine just came back finally from the US. Do you know that in the US, they have products that we are familiar with? One of those products is iPhone. It was created by an individual. You have go abroad. One of the things you constantly see, it's not good for my health. It's called Starbucks. This coffee that people drink, and many other products. When you read the history of Howard Schultz, of Steve Jobs, and all these guys, you would think the place where they call United States, where they were born and where they grew up, that is paradise. But in the midst of poverty and lack and deprivation, they created these things. And I have always said in the last few years to people that I meet and I make contact with, that those places were developed by citizens of those countries. That we need to start doing the same thing, creating shoes, slippers, small things. Our fashion is okay. Start developing and begin to like what is ours and others.
You know, that's why I said this is a very big subject matter. You know, this whole matter about the angle that Tony spoke about and that you are continuing about doing things for ourselves. Yeah, I guess they're working on, we're working on that. But it goes back to enabling environment. Vice President has said that, yeah, we're doing everything to make the ease of business and all of that. Well, here we are at it, and I don't know. Let's just leave it where it is. But this whole matter, at the end of the day, Tony referred to it as an insult.
How about retaliation?
Retaliation. This is part of the addressing it. Because
don't you have any way we can say, okay, no,
Tony said it. Tony in the UK said it. He said, let's look at the good side of this whole thing. You know,
we have looked at the good side. How about the other side of antagonizing the US?
No,
they have the capacity.
Let me give
they
you
might
example.
do so. They might do so. They might do so because we've got to go. But they might do so because they said addressing it. Part of addressing it is retaliatory. Say, we too are not giving immigrant visa to American citizens.
No, it's not visa.
No, you see what I want. Just very quickly.
Very briefly.
Yes. Sanwo-Olu ban Okada, and it's here and there, plus minus. But if you ask me, I clap for him. Those boys are refusing to go to school. They refuse to learn work. The only thing they do is, for now, if you want to sew a dress, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
They are not going to school. They are not painting. They are not plumbers.
No
if you
carpenter.
want to do POP, you need a Togolese to come and do POP.
Yeah.
For goodness sake,
I
think it's the best decision. So it's the same thing. You don't need retaliation. Now they are protesting and vandalizing. Will that is the definition of retaliation. But will that be a solution?
Well, thank you very much. It's an interesting, and part of the Lagos thing, since you talked about Lagos and Governor Sanwo-Olu, it's like they woke up and said, wait a minute, we have a template. We have a vision for this society. This is our society that we're developing.
Their development.
And this is not part of it.
It's not there.
So we've woken up. It is scattering
I have that
our
book,
vision.
that Millennium Development
And
Goals.
so we're taking it out.
Yes.
So, but do we have a plan? Do we, as a people, as a nation,
He has
do we
said
have
what
a
those people
plan
need to go and do.
that
Don't
we
need
can
any
now
plan.
say, yeah, this thing that is going on is working against our plan, so we're throwing it out. I don't know. Let's not open that
That's
up
at
again.
the national level.
Yeah, the national
but
level.
at state level, I think Lagos State, they do have a plan.
They have
over the
demonstrated
years,
it.
I
have
think
that
they are the
book.
best
They
of
have
us.
demonstrated
They have
it.
that book.
It's why they cut
Demonstrated
Okada.
it. Yes.
Sorry, there will be crimes,
This
there will
is
be
not part
gnashing of teeth, but we are stopping Okada.
Yes.
I want to thank
and
you.
I think they should stand on it.
They will. Yes. I'm guessing that they will.
They will.
I saw a poor gentleman saying that we spent 5 billion naira on Okada, and now government has banned it. Well,
You can go to another
sorry.
state.
Exactly. Try Oyo, maybe. Thank you very much, Mr. Tony Ofoyeton and Mr. Chuks Moko. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for sharing your perspective. So that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.